Hey there. Welcome back to Supercharged Fridays. I hope everybody is well and relatively safe. This is week 70 Fridays of Supercharged Fridays. Come in the comments and tell us where you are, what time is it. Helps the algorithm get a little bit of rocket fuel, particularly for someone like Kevin, for whom it's 7 in the morning in Texas. He's been up for a while. So Kevin is here to talk to us about everything related to LinkedIn features, some new, some old that we're not taking advantage of. So please give a lot of applause to Kevin for taking out time. Kevin, very warm welcome again.
So now, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. It's an honor to be here. I love everything that you do, and Supercharged Fridays is fantastic. So we're fired up.
We have a mutual fan society going on. So awesome. So we have a lot of ground to cover, and I will already say this from the get-go. So anyone who's watching here and is like, you've got your questions, please do definitely, drop them in the chat. And at the same time, we're today looking at slightly more advanced features. If you're looking at basic features, then I will put in a link of a live stream I did with Kevin back in October, and he explained a lot of those things. Even I would say they weren't even basic, but people like me who are like, oh yeah, I understand LinkedIn, our brain was exploded. And you can definitely check out my website for a lot of free resources on LinkedIn. So today we're going to talk a little bit about new features, slightly old features which are being ignored, so you can make the most out of the platform. So Kevin, before we dive in, for anyone who's like, who's Kevin, what is he about? Give us the juicy stuff.
Yeah. Personal and organizational brand strategist. I help companies and individuals refine what their brand is. What is the value they bring to the table? And my focus is, how do you then implement that, make it work on social media with a focus on LinkedIn? And I've been on LinkedIn since 2005. I've done over 4,500 LinkedIn profiles and close to 700 company pages. So I love it. I live it. And, it's just part of who I am. And that's why I'm so excited to be here to share.
Amazing. And we have lovely folks joining here as well. Good morning to those in North and South America. And of course, good afternoon to those in Europe, Middle East, Africa. And those in India, Asia, I hope you guys are well. It's Friday. Niatu is here. I want to give a special shout out to Niatu because Niatu will be live with us next week at this time. And we're going to talk about how to talk about accomplishments when you are looking at it from a cultural background and how that impacts how you, very juicy topics. So definitely join us next week. And yeah, fabulous. We have so much ground to cover, Kevin. And, I also want to say Kevin's one of the authorities on all things LinkedIn. One of the reasons being he's done it a while, right? You've been around the block. So I believe since 2005, you've been doing LinkedIn training.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some people in our audience weren't born at that time. I'm kidding. Or they were
scary.
or they were in diapers. So, so Kevin, let's get into it. And if you guys are interested and want to know more about Kevin and his work, his URL is, it's funny. It makes me laugh. He's one of, I believe, the first 400 or 1 million people who joined LinkedIn back in the day.
I am just a hair over the 1 million by about
just a hair over the 1 million.
So yeah. I didn't get my official email from LinkedIn. They had a little thank you note that went out to the first million. I missed it by 200,000. And
so close.
Yeah.
And Kevin has a company called TNT Brand Strategist, which he runs very bravely with his wife. It's not easy to do this together, and they are literally explosive combination, TNT. So if you're interested in finding out more about Kevin, definitely do that. So let's get into it. Kevin, between October and now, there's been a lot of things, right? But I want to talk about the most obvious one, and that is the creator mode, which came out end of March, like literally the fag end of March, 2021. So give us the rundown for anyone who's listening who doesn't understand it, but like really basic. And I'm always trying to make sure this is helping job seekers, but also self-employed people.
Absolutely. And, Sonal, I think the most important thing to know about LinkedIn rollouts is it's not personal. If you didn't get it, it's not because they don't like you or because they prefer you. That's why you about it, it is completely random. And
Random.
they roll it out in segments so that when it goes out, they make sure it doesn't take the site down if there's
Yeah.
code issues. LinkedIn has become very complicated code-wise, and what works for you might not work for me when it rolls out based on how we got into LinkedIn. So that's the first thing I want to say. Don't take it personal if you don't have it. And on this particular feature, almost 70% of LinkedIn has not been allowed to implement the feature. So that's the first thing. Don't, again, it's random. It has nothing to do with you in the sense of, sometimes you're in the front, right? Riding the top of the wave. Sometimes you're being crushed under the wave itself and waiting and thinking I did something wrong to LinkedIn or they don't like me. That's not the case.
Right.
Creator mode really is for the most part right now, it's a redesign of your LinkedIn profile. So the first thing it does at the very top, in what we call the top card, right, where your basic information is, underneath your headline, it allows you to include 5 hashtags. Those are hashtags that you like, that you normally talk about, and hopefully they're not hot linked, which we hope they will be one day, right?
What does that mean, hot linked?
Hot linked means you could click on it and go see everybody who's writing about that particular hashtag. That hasn't happened yet. We hope it does. So right now it's more of a visual stimulus. So maybe somebody can copy it and then start, following that hashtag. We wish it was so you could click it and hit follow. That's kind of maybe a next step in creator mode. It would make it very powerful. From there, they've taken your feature section. Right?
And Kevin, I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to share my screen because I happened to get it last night.
Yes.
When you say random, it makes absolutely no sense at all. So can you see my screen?
Absolutely.
So one very cool thing, Kevin, is this, right? When somebody has LinkedIn Live, their banner gets transformed. So it's very easy to find the person who's live, which is really weird. I don't want to look at myself right now.
And it rewards those doing live because you have to go to their profile to find it. So it's kind of like it's a visit in a sense. Everybody who's watching this now is technically visiting your profile, and that ups the value of your profile to LinkedIn. Okay. So that's another kind of side benefit to that.
Okay. And these are the hashtags you're talking about, which means they're not hot linked. That's what you said, right?
You can't click on them and go right to them and follow them, but you can copy them, then put them in your search box.
Yeah.
Hopefully delivering you to the hashtag page and you can follow.
Yeah. And there's one more, which is cover story. And talk to us about that, because particularly I'm thinking from the point of view of job seekers and branding and find a way to stand out. I don't have that yet, but I want to know your opinion on it.
In cover story, I think is probably, to me, is a more exciting feature than creator mode, because creator mode is just a redesign of the profile outside of the hashtags. Everything else was there. They just move it around a bit. Cover story is an opportunity now to have, it was a 20-second, now it's 30-second video. And so you think about it like a video CV, right?
Yes.
You want to get in there. You want to be strong. You want to tell them, this is what I bring to the table. If you invest in me, this is the kind of stuff you're going to get. Have energy, excitement. To me, it's a huge opportunity, especially as older job seekers are always concerned, hey, I'm older. They're going to see I'm older. You can change that image by your energy, your information, your polish. All that stuff comes through video. So this is a huge opportunity, I think, for that. It's also a huge ageism opportunity for those who are younger to show that they have that kind of, corporate presence, that command, right? That they're not an immature kid. They're really somebody who can drive a business unit. And so video has that opportunity to do that. The downside of cover story is...
before you go to the downside, so this is fantastic. So particularly if you think you're too young or you're too old, this is a chance to smash those isms. Ageism, sexism, racism. You mean business. You're nice. You're smiling. You have a personality. So there's a lot of pluses. But just like with everything, there are some caveats. And what are they, Kevin?
If you don't do it well, it looks terrible, right? So you definitely want to shoot it right. You want to practice what you're going to say. Make sure it all flows. And the other piece of that is when somebody opens up your profile, the first thing they're going to see is your regular profile photo, right? And then they're going to see 3 seconds of a video. Now, if your profile picture doesn't match your video picture, right? You can go from, some days I don't look that great, and other days you pick the best picture you ever had. That becomes your profile picture. If there's this like boom, boom, right? You go from, nice looking guy to sea hag. It doesn't flow. And so I usually tell people, when you're building this, take a shot, right, from the video and use that as your profile picture.
Oh,
the transition is nice and smooth. It doesn't go boom, boom, and it doesn't look like a disconnect. So that's what happens with the profile.
That's interesting.
Yeah, you see
I didn't think of. I didn't think of that. I thought, for example, if your profile picture is very different from your video, it generates curiosity. Like, oh, something happened when I, because you see that in YouTube videos. You're like, just click on it, and then they're like 5 second, 3 second. But it's a good point. The transition matters. Maybe it doesn't matter. It's a personal preference.
Well, it's definitely developed by developers who watched Harry Potter, right? And in the Harry Potter scene, when they're going through galleries and stuff, the pictures are moving, right? But they start with the main picture and then they move. And that's what makes it kind of even more interesting, because you're like, oh, wait a minute, that picture moved, right? That's the excitement, and that's what makes it all kind of fit. I am big on productizing everything. So nothing should look awkward. Everything should be smooth and kind of focused on the presentation. So that's one thing I love about it.
Yes, exactly. And it is pretty early in the morning for creator mode for some people, but you're gonna get there. And special shout out, I see Virginia, Andrea, and I want to give a special shout out to someone, a dear friend of ours, for whom it's middle of the night, and it's likely Saturday morning. Hey Momo, good morning, good night. So cover story, use it, have fun with it. Whenever you get it, you'll come to know, because on your mobile, you're going to have your profile picture and you're going to have an orange looking cross, and you'll be like, whoa, what happened? Now you know what's going to happen. And you're going to get it. You're going to get it. It's not, they don't hate you. They're taking their time.
But if you don't see it, remove your app, delete your app, and load the latest version. You probably already have it right now. Originally, it was connected to the rollout of creator mode, but creator mode stalled. And so they've made this a separate rollout. So you may already have it, but if you don't have the latest version of the mobile app, you probably don't know it.
Yeah, no, that's a great point.
Yeah.
And Shelly, like you, hi, good morning. I didn't think of the transition thing either. We will always learn something when Kevin's around. So get your notepad, get your pen and paper ready. And Kevin, another thing I want to talk about, which a lot of us know but may not realize the importance of. And I'm going to share my screen, but explain to us how this is very useful for someone who's actively in transition or looking for business.
As far as the cover story?
No, now we're moving to the next one. So I'm sorry, maybe I've moved on too fast. In creator mode, anything else that people need to know other than cover story for today?
The other piece or one of the newer rollouts that I think has a lot of value is service pages. And what service pages allows somebody, if you're in transition, or even if you're doing like a side gig, right? Or even if you're working directly for a company, if there's certain things that you do as a service, you can create this service page. It sits at the bottom of your top card and it says offering services, and you might put UX developer, whatever that is, but it helps LinkedIn focus traffic towards you for people who are looking for those particular skill sets. And so it's a great thing whether you're employed, unemployed, freelancing, but it's called service pages. That's something definitely to set up no matter who you are. And it also, when somebody does a search result, right, you've got your picture, you've got your headline, and then right below it, it says offering services, and it'll tell you what those services are. It makes you different. In a page of 10 results, you're going to stand out and people are going to kind of get a quick view. It's kind of like when they have in resumes where they have, top skills, right? They're all kind of free floating keywords. It's kind of the same thing. It'll help your ranking, but it'll also help you kind of stand out visually in a search, which then will drive more people to you. And hopefully you can offer those services on the side or whatever it is and make a little extra.
Yeah. For even if you're working full time right now. And the service page, Kevin, is not the same thing as business page.
No, it is not. And we were talking earlier, business page, if you are unemployed, creating your own business page, your own doing business as, right? You can create that business page when you open up your profile. All the way at the top right-hand side is going to be a little box of smaller little boxes, and it says work underneath. You click that, you go all the way down to the bottom of the list, and it says create a business page. And it's just like a profile is, but it's a business profile. And so that's what you see where the little work square boxes are.
Yes.
Yeah, you'll hover over that. That will do another, take it all the way to the top. Go back up to your navigation line. All the way up.
Yeah.
See where it says work? And the little boxes, click that. Go all the way down to the bottom. There's create a business page. You can actually click.
Why do things have to be so complicated? Because
LinkedIn really doesn't want you to be able to do this, because what it does, if you are unemployed, right? And you have nothing sitting in that space, LinkedIn, believe it or not, will push you down in search results. The main reason they do that is 60% of the revenue of LinkedIn, a $20 billion company, right? 60% comes from packaging up members as product to sell to recruiters. Recruiters traditionally are not looking for unemployed. So what LinkedIn does when you label yourself as unemployed, they push you down in the rankings, and they actually remove you, or they lower you considerably in any kind of search result for recruiters. This is a way to get you back on top. Create the DBA. It could be your name. It could be a company name. If you're trying to find a good company name to make a DBA, which is doing business as, the quickest way to find, if you got a creative name, put it in your URL search box, right? Put .com on the end. If no site comes up, that name is probably available as a doing business as, and you can register it at your local tax office in your city, and that becomes your DBA. You don't have to LLC, you don't have to Inc. That's your DBA, and that allows you to create a business page. You can even go out and build a website around that one because it's available. So
now, in case anyone is feeling lost, don't worry. You need to go to Kevin's profile, and you need to check out his featured section. He's got a bunch of articles, and this one is the one we're talking about. And there's one which is called hidden features. We're going to be discussing some of those. We already are discussing some of those today. Don't worry, we got your back. And we talked about this last time, and we can't stress this enough. It's not a perfect world. In the perfect world, it wouldn't matter if you're working today or not. But today, in the way LinkedIn is working, it knows which side its bread is buttered. So in order to show you as a product to recruiters, it's better to have some sort of a service page or business page which shows that you are employed. And in case you've never heard of this, if you're looking for work, please do not write in your LinkedIn headline, open to new opportunities. You're wasting prime real estate. Check out my LinkedIn profile page. I have a downloadable checklist that you can take for free, and it's going to help you. So good. Speaking of which, one new thing that has become official now by LinkedIn is Saad and Sam, which is stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home dad, particularly for people on a break, right? Or even homemaker. You don't have to have kids to use this. And there's pluses here, and there's caveats here with everything. Kevin, talk to us about that.
And I think LinkedIn's heart was in the right place.
Yeah.
The execution in the code side and the database side is not. Here's what happens. If you want to use one of those, what I call gap fillers, right? Titles to help you fill a gap to show what you're doing. Maybe you're taking care of your parents, you're raising kids, you're taking a sabbatical, whatever that is. If you want to use one of those, two things. You have to use self-employed, right? as one of the designators. That allows the company name to be optional or not used at all. So that's how it works. But here's the issue. If you look at those particular titles, and you can use one of LinkedIn's tools to verify this, and that is called Career Explorer. It came out in 2020 in October. If you go in there and you put those titles in, they have no skills assigned to them within LinkedIn. So if you want to be found for being able to do whatever that is, team management, all these other things, those particular titles have no skill set, and therefore they will not come up in any kind of search for those skills. So it's kind of, in a sense, it does close the gap, but it positions you as not having any skills because they don't know what the skill set is really. Think about, everything. If you're a stay-at-home parent, you're doing everything, and you probably got more skills than most people who are working because it is intense, and you're touching finance and coordination and team management and all these kind of things that you're doing.
Medical, health insurance, catering, chauffeur.
Oh yeah, but you get none of that, given to you through LinkedIn. So again, it's a neat tool, but it almost puts you in a position where you're unfindable on LinkedIn. You're better off creating that business page, using the title that you want to have next or that you have now that you want to replace, right? That's where you're better off, because then you're in the full mix and you have skill sets assigned to you where those recruiters and decision makers can find you.
Exactly. Please don't forget this. If you didn't know about it, you heard it here first. Between stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home dad, homemaker, all of those things that LinkedIn has released, it's got the right intentions. But what Kevin is saying, and that's tricky, is the SEO internally is not going to help you get bumped up in the rankings, right? At the end of the day, LinkedIn is a search engine, right? It's the Google for talent. And if you're not going to be bumped up in the search engines, you're going to be at the bottom. You're better off creating a service page, business page, whatever it is. Remember we said Kevin has an article, and he can, you can go into a lot more detail. That will help you. So please, please, please take advantage of it. Do not continue to be hidden. Because you're valuable, you're a valuable talent, you're a valuable person. So it's not fair if they are not able to find you because of this technical oversight, I would say. All right, fantastic. So I saw a question here, Kevin, and it was to do with, are these features only available on premium? No.
Most of the features we'll talk about. If we ever come up with something today that is premium only, we'll say, hey, this is premium only.
Yes.
Right. Everything else is going to be available to free to premium.
Exactly. I don't have premium and I have creator mode. So there you go. And no, Dina, if you delete the app, you're not going to lose everything. Don't worry. It's about restarting, just like a update, like a refresh update. And we have our Clubhouse friend in here. Nice to see you.
Hey, Stephen.
And Dina has another question. When you accept a job, how long should you wait to update your profile with the new job, especially if you're hoping to make this place your forever home? First of all, forever, who has seen the future, right?
Yeah.
And what do you think here, Kevin?
I think you do it that you make sure it goes live the day you show up for work.
Yes.
Because people who are working for you, they're going to go check you out. They're going to say, well, who is Sanaa? I want to know. And they're going to go look, and they're going to be fascinated. They're going to say, oh, wow, she's got this, this, and this. You have a chance to come into an office instead of being the weird one that nobody knows about. You have a chance to set your brand and tell them who you are. So get it done immediately. And we'll talk a little bit about this more later. Create a banner that brings in the company brand, because it's going to set you up as the new employee who is already company strong. And what better message can you have than that? That's the way to do it. Hey, if it doesn't work out, we try something else again. It goes away, right?
Yeah.
But do it before you show up that day, at the first day of work, the night before, the morning of, launch it so they know who you are.
Yes, exactly. And not before. Not before. Don't, what do you say? The cart before the horse.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on. But before we do, we just finished with creator mode. And our friend Mick is here from Belgium.
Hey, Beck.
Good to see you here. So I saw that Mick had a post on this today as well. So overall, I know this sounds very black and white. Creator mode, good or bad?
It's different. It depends on what you want to do. If you want to be known as somebody who creates content and you want to increase your follower count, creator mode really kind of brings that up to the top, right? If you want to be somebody who is more, let's say I'm a community builder and I comment on a lot of things, believe it or not, your comments won't show on your profile in creator
Correct.
mode, only your last 6 posts.
6 posts, yes.
So it takes away sometimes.
Yes.
The other piece of that is your invite button now becomes follow.
Yes.
And if you are a true believer in what we call LinkedIn SSI is a true, ranking, your score in SSI will drop somewhere. People argue this somewhere between 5 and 10 points because SSI is all about connecting, right? As opposed to following. So there can be pluses and minuses to it.
So I understand that. And in case you guys are wondering what is SSI, don't worry, we're not going to go there. That's very advanced, particularly for sales leaders, LinkedIn trainers, etc. Not a problem for you. So the quick answer is, it depends. It depends on what you want.
Try it out, because you can always turn it off.
Yes, exactly. And there was a question here from Rajesh. Rajesh, we talked about this many, many times, and maybe, I don't know, over time, maybe our mind changes. I don't know. What do you think about that green arc, Kevin? We've talked about it at least 3 times.
Open to work. I think, again, LinkedIn's heart was in the right place, right? They wanted to help people who were unemployed, basically to let their network know, hey, I'm unemployed. Maybe you can help me, right? If you use it, it becomes the first thing that people associate with your brand. Open to work, to me, has as many negatives as it has positives, right? Yeah. Now, the best way to use it, though, is plan it like a PR press release. If you activate open to work, the next option it will give you is announce it to my network, right?
Yes.
Customize that, announce it to my network. Don't use their stock default stuff because that's garbage. Customize it, send that annunciation out, right? Yeah. That is the only post on LinkedIn that you as a member are guaranteed that every single person in your network will see it in their feed. It's the only one. So you can use that as kind of like a PR blast. Hey, I'm out. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I bring to the table. Can you help me? Can I help you? Boom, right? You send that out. And once you've done that, go turn that little green banner off, and you've now maximized the opportunity, and you don't have the stigma, of this banner, because there's research out there that says, 40 to 60% of decision makers don't like it. That also means 40, 60% do like it.
Yes, exactly.
But I'd rather, when I'm presenting a product, I want 100% of the market to look at it and say, as opposed to 40 or 60% of the market. Don't weed anybody out, but use it for that announcement. That's your PR press release. And like any PR press release, don't do it on Friday night, because nobody will see it, right? That's when you announce bad news. Announce it like a Tuesday morning at 6:30 or 7 in the morning.
Prime time.
The majority of them will read it.
Exactly. So do it the right way. And I saw a comment by Virginia. It comes down to testing as well, right? You're like, hey, I want to, check this out. It works. It doesn't work. I know that Jeff dropped, but Jeff has given a detailed description of creator mode as well. So you guys, when we're done, do check out the comments, because we have a bunch of, trainers, veteran trainers who've been doing this a while. And, related to this, Kevin, because I saw a question by Niatu. I don't know, Niatu, if you're still here, because I'm sort of drowning in comments here, but I want to make sure I don't miss this one. Oh, good Lord. I don't know where it is. It was to do with equity when it comes to cover story. Equity issues with video profile. Not everyone is a slick video editor has the ability to hire one, will folks be judged on production value? Do you need a professional to do that?
I think anybody can come pretty proficient and look pretty professional, even using things as simple as a smartphone.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But what you want to do is when you shoot that video, you want to review it. You want to look at it before you just go and post it. Look at it, analyze it, have a few friends that you trust that have a good eye, right? And then a good ear, have them look at it and make notes. And maybe you might shoot it 5 or 6 times before you get to the right one. But take that time. And I always say too, when you're doing this stuff, don't do the selfie video, right? It looks funny. It looks like a selfie. It looks like you're alone. Have somebody shoot it with you. Have somebody there with you that has an attention to detail. So if your buttons are wrong, right, they'll fix them. If if you got a hair out of place, they'll lick it and stick it back. Take that person with you that does those things all the time, because they'll make you look the best you can.
Exactly.
And the other thing is, if you don't have the ability to get into lighting and all that kind of stuff, I'm traveling right now, so I don't today, but do it outside.
Window. Yes, exactly.
Do it in the afternoon. The colors are always best, right?
And the other thing as well is, if you live alone and there's a pandemic and you can't see anyone, there's always a solution, right? So you can have a tripod, or it's very inexpensive, or prop a couple of books and make it stand.
Don't do that.
What Kevin is saying is, don't hold it like one of those.
You can see the arm, right?
Exactly. It's if you want to appear professional, right? I mean, unless you want to do it because that's your line of work and you're approaching influencers or whatever. So I don't. Obviously, there's some common sense in here. So we're going to move on, and I'm going to come back to the questions a little bit later. This is a feature that has been there for a while, Kevin, and I want to talk about, see who recently followed you and how this is helpful, particularly for anyone looking for a job or looking for business. And it gives you an excuse to reach out and connect with them. I'm going to share my screen when you do this, so that I can I can show it while you're talking.
Well, great.
Go ahead.
And followers are incredible. If they've taken the option of clicking on your profile to follow you, that means they're interested in you. So if you go through that list of who is following you,
yes, and you go under activity, you can see this. Under activity, you can see followers, and you click there, and then this is what Kevin is talking about. These two, right?
These are basically really, really warm leads. So if you go through there and you see 5 recruiters, or you go through there and you see people that are the decision makers, hiring managers in companies that you're targeting, it means they're interested in you. They're perfect to, first of all, go follow back, right? When you follow somebody in that first 30 days, their posts are going to come into your feed immediately.
Oh, really?
Them. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's the quickest way to get them into your feed. If you follow them, that's what LinkedIn says. Oh, you're interested in these people. We'll put them in your feed for the first 30 days. If you interact with them, they will become part of your feed algorithm. So they'll stick around. But it's a chance then to go in there and comment. And when I mean comment, I don't mean a hit and run comment, like good post, right? That has no value. You got to get in there.
I agree.
Value. And when you do that, you will get them to comment back. You begin a conversation. It's a perfect time then to connect.
I love this tip for many, many reasons. And I'll tell you the best reason, because I'm thrifty. Okay. I'm scrappy. I don't have LinkedIn Premium. So without LinkedIn Premium, the thing which says, see who viewed your profile, right?
Yes.
Without LinkedIn Premium, I mean, I even if you turn it on, you see like 1 or 2, you see practically nothing, right? So it's like saying, my shop is open. Yeah, whether I'm a service provider, I'm a employee, a job seeker, whatever. It's like saying my shop is open. Somebody peeped in, but didn't enter my shop, and then they left. So the reason I like this is because you don't need LinkedIn Premium to do that. You can see who recently followed your work, and you're like, hey, you don't have to be creepy. I saw that you recently followed me. I saw that you recently viewed my thing, but you're like, there's something in common. It's a warm lead, much better than a cold contact. So take advantage of it for sure. And you can also, this is going to sound cruel, but you're like, what I like, Kevin, about this tip, and I don't know if you do this as well, It's a dirty little secret of mine.
Uh-oh.
It's number of, let's say these are the people I'm following, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if somebody's posting ridiculous amount per week, because it's apparently it's sorted by the number of posts.
It is.
Now, if somebody's been posting a lot, but you don't necessarily resonate with their content, you are already connected. There's not a bad idea to unfollow, right? Because you're still friends, but you're not in your face.
Absolutely.
In each other's face.
Now, let's say you have somebody that you're interested in. Maybe you're following them. They're following you. They're coming up in the feed. You like half of what they post, but you don't like another half. Maybe half of what they post has something to do with what you want to get done. The other half of their posts are cat videos and political videos,
exactly.
Right?
I want to, those three, right? PR, I call it, what is it? RPR? I don't remember. Politics, romance, religion.
Yeah.
My wheelhouse is careers. Kevin's wheelhouse is branding, LinkedIn. Your wheelhouse, if you're looking for a job, you're looking at energy conservation. That's your area. Don't lose focus, because you can always go to Facebook and Tinder for other things.
Well, one of my favorite features, and people forget about this, is launched in the middle of last year.
Yeah.
It's a filter. When something comes up in your feed,
yes,
right? You go to the three little dots in the top corner.
I'm gonna explain that. Yeah.
Click on that. There'll be a drop-down box, and go to the one that says, I don't want to see this.
Yes.
So that particular author, you like half of their stuff, but you don't like the other half, right? If that cat video comes up, or the political video comes up, or whatever, post, you can click on that and say, I don't like this topic.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
All the other good stuff from that author, but you won't get the stuff when they talk about cats or politics.
Exactly. So, what is interesting about this, and I know that you posted on this, Kevin. Mm-hmm. Let's say I like Andrew, but I mean, nothing personal, poor guy. Andrew's a friend of mine. So I like Andrew, but I don't want to hear from this person, because maybe the thing that Andrew liked, I don't like it. You can mute that person. So they will never show up in your feed, but your friend will continue to show up in your feed.
Now, do that, click one more time, and you'll see that I don't like this filter. And that is a great, you won't activate it. So if you click that, go down.
I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this.
I don't want to see it. Click on that. There's your option, right?
Okay.
So you can basically edit them by author, by topic.
Got
it. Edit them by age of post. Right now, people are getting posts that are 2 weeks old in their feed.
Yes.
2-week-old information. You can put age of post, and stuff.
You curate it as much as possible. And I want to add one thing here, Kevin, and I love that we talked about it on Clubhouse earlier this month. Earlier, not Clubhouse, somewhere we talked about it. We are seeing a lot of promoted posts, right? It's becoming a lot like Instagram. And I mentioned to you that every third post is like a promoted post. And you said for you, it's every 10th post is a promoted post, because you took advantage of these magic 3 dots. And you clicked on, was it improve my feed?
No, I actually clicked on, there's one that says,
why am I seeing?
Or report the post. Do you see one that says report this post?
I'm going to click report. Oh, okay. I thought that's a bit harsh.
So you go in there and you report it. It's not interesting. I've seen it too many times, whatever it is. And they'll remove that ad from your feed. And if you think about it, most of these ads, you see the same ad 10 times in a day.
Yes.
Remove it, and you won't see that ad. At some point, they run out of ads. And that's why I'm now getting once every 10, maybe once every 20, and I'm getting the really weird ads, but I'm not getting so many in my feed. And it's one of those things, when you start it, it takes, a little bit of effort to remember.
Yes.
Once you get it going, it's fantastic, because LinkedIn's been using some of the same ads for years. So why see them, right?
Exactly.
Get rid of them,
it's not
clean
fresh.
up the feed.
Exactly. It's not fresh. It's not updated. Fantastic.
I'm going to jump in that on TV, right?
Right? They say 12 touch points before you buy from someone. But if you genuinely have no interest in the product, it can be 100 touch points. I'm still not going to buy it. Might as well. That's the advantage of interactive. It's not TV. You can curate it. So fantastic. And I saw a question here which was very relevant for some people, related to, I apologize, it's going to take a little long. I'm going to find it. Abdul is saying, why can't I send more connection requests in a week? And I want you to answer this, Kevin, with full, I mean, obviously honesty, but we need to call something out here.
Well, if you think about everybody that's watching today, if you could raise your hand, how many people get spammy invites and that are sales pitches, right?
Yes.
The first thing right out the chute, either they pretend to know you personally, they send you a really nice invite, and then as soon as you accept, boom, it's a sales pitch, or it's just a stupid sales pitch right in the invite. What LinkedIn has known is that people are using automation to send out invites. They're sending out, hundreds, thousands of invites a week. The members are getting annoyed, and LinkedIn heard that, and they said, you know what? We're going to allow you to send out 100 a week. If you send out 100 and 99 accept, you'll still get actually another 99 that week. Mm-hmm. So you get 199 that way. Mm-hmm. But if 50% don't accept, you're not going to get back more, right? And at some point, they're going to look at the ratio of your invites to acceptance. And if it's really low, they'll actually take away that 100. And they'll say you can only send invites if you have an email address. So what they're really trying to do is control spam by closing that door a little bit. Now, if you think about it, what is 100 invites a week times, 4 times 12? That's more invites than most people want to build a network.
Yes, exactly.
And
so
at
this
some
is
point you
to
would
help
hit
everyone.
30,000 limit, and you'd be done.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Abdul, you may be one of those people that's not spamming others, but this is a way to sort of, ensure that everyone's interest is taken care of. And it's interesting because we all have points of view. So take everything with a pinch of salt, right? G has a recruiter background. If you haven't seen, G and I were live last week and we addressed all HR questions. And she talked about how she used the green circle. It fell flat. Everybody has their own experience. My experience is I don't love it. It's the first thing before you see my face. Mm-hmm. It's the first thing that stands out. And for a branding person, not great, right? Interestingly, heart was in the right place. Interestingly, Kevin, I don't know if you know this, the person who designed the green arc 2 days ago got a Webby Award for best design. So there's definitely merit in it. It's working for some people. So it comes down to testing it.
And I think we really should have an open to help.
Yeah.
Instead of an open to work, right? If you're within a company and you will help somebody get in, you should be able to say open to help.
Yes, exactly. I have a member in my I have a member in my Supercharged Club who's got a red arc, and he's like, I don't want to be green. I'm not hiring today. I'm not purple, so I want to be red. And I'm like, okay, we try it out for a little while. So perfect. I saw that there was a question about the frustration with regards to creator mode, because it's suddenly a few people got it last night. Very random, Sarah. We totally understand. And we talked about it at the start. It is not personal, even though it feels like, why am I left behind? Like FOMO is real.
Yeah. It's not doing what it's supposed to do. That is why the rollout has slowed down. It's having real quality issues. And if I did a survey on my own network, right? When you do a poll, you're polling your own network. But of the people that had creator mode, very few said it had a benefit to them. They said no difference or potentially negative impact. So sometimes getting the new thing first is not always the best, because you're then the beta. And if it doesn't work, if it has negative impact, it's impacting you. So sometimes it's good to let somebody else test it, right? Kind of like a new toy, and let them get hurt before you get it or give it to your kids. It's kind of neat that you're sometimes not on that front of that rollout. So this one is not one to worry about.
Exactly. Sometimes first mover advantage, sometimes second mover advantage is more advantageous for you. So think about your timing in there. And I see a question from Ayush who talks about putting, can we put multiple skills on our LinkedIn profile? Yes.
Absolutely. You can do up to 50 skills towards the bottom, right? And here's one thing that is fascinating. When you're putting skills in, it gives you the ability to type your skill in, right? Always type it slowly, and LinkedIn will always place a drop-down box.
Yes.
What that drop-down box is saying is these are skills that are within the LinkedIn database that are recognized by LinkedIn and the recruiters that use the system. So if you want to be found, click on one in the drop-down box. Don't make up your own.
Yeah.
So anytime you put anything in LinkedIn, if there's a box, where you're filling it in, do it slow. Always look for the drop-down box, and you'll always do better.
Yes. Got it. Perfect. Our friend Adam is here taking notes. It's fantastic to see you here. And Chandrakala is asking, is it good to follow many job postings as it will show in the following groups? Did you understand that properly, Kevin?
To follow job postings, it's not bad to have job alerts. It's not bad to apply to jobs. But one of the things I always tell people is LinkedIn keeps a record of what you apply to.
Yes.
Once you know what that job is and you've taken, a snap of it, put it into a file, don't leave that on LinkedIn, because it's kind of like a batting average, right? If you've applied to 1,000 jobs and nobody's called you back, that becomes part of your brand, your digital brand within LinkedIn. So delete those once you've applied and it's been a certain amount of time. Just go back and delete them all, so they don't, a recruiter doesn't look and see, and they do. They'll see, oh, over the last year, this individual has applied to 1,000 jobs and they still have the same job they started with at the beginning of the year. So it has kind of a value to who you are as a brand. Delete those, clear them out, and that way it doesn't move forward. And the same thing on any other site that does things, if you're applying through Indeed or anything like that, clear out that past history. Nobody needs that but you.
Yes. Clear out the past history. It's extremely useful. I'm having so many fantastic comments in here about Kevin and what a rock star he is. Remember to follow Kevin if you're not familiar with his profile. This is his URL, one of the coolest URLs I've ever seen, president. And I see people saying they're like 3 pages of notes. And I completely agree with you, Lauren. And I agree with you, Devika. You got to watch this session twice. It's not like once is too much. There's too much stuff to cover. And I want to quickly address this by Lauren, because this happens a lot with sending invites. Pardon me. Okay, Lauren, where'd you go? But yes, if we remove invites that don't accept, can you replenish them, that quota?
Oh, if you send out an invite and the other individual doesn't accept it, if you delete that, you do not get that invite back.
You don't get it back. No. And I believe, what is it, Kevin? 3,000 invites in one lifetime?
3,000 invites.
Per account.
But if you get to the end of that, you can actually appeal for more. I've been granted the 3,000 3 times on LinkedIn. So I've been able to build my network, and that's, over 16 years, right?
16 years, yeah. But you're probably grandfathered in with some cool features that we guys, us lesser mortals, don't have.
But, again, invites critical to personalize them so that the people on the other side will accept them, right?
Yes.
And, don't waste it. And don't take the excuse that I use the mobile app, so it sent a blank one.
No.
Everybody knows that problem.
Yes.
Do it right. The other piece of it is, I just earlier in this year, I sent out an invite 10 years ago to a wonderful individual who works for the Irish Heart Association. When I used to be with American Heart Association, we connected back then. They were on LinkedIn, but they weren't a big player on LinkedIn, right? And that invite actually sat for 10 years. And she just accepted that invite this year. So I didn't wait.
This is obviously a person who's not regular on LinkedIn.
No, and they never really thought about their invites, and they must have gone back and had this.
But it's interesting that you didn't delete it, Kevin.
No, why should I? because if I
Oh,
delete
because you
it,
lose. I get
I
it. I
lose
get
it.
it. I think it's an ego thing. Like, oh, you didn't accept it. Like for me, I'm like, I'd wait 3 to 4 weeks, and I'm like, anything longer than that, I'm like, oh, they're not interested or they're not regular. Either of which is,
And I don't think I've sent an invite out in quite some time. I have no invites sitting that haven't been answered. That was the one. And I kind of left it there because I wasn't going to delete it. But don't invite people that you don't have a relationship with, or that you can't tell them how you add value to their life and how, connecting will make a difference, or whatever that is. Just don't do it if you can't have that done. And if you want to invite people and grow, your opportunities, follow them first on LinkedIn, comment on their content, and build a relationship. They might even invite you, but you'll know the right time to invite them. And that way it's already a relationship, and then move that relationship into the real world.
Off of LinkedIn. So Nagendra, this is an exact answer to your question on how to begin networking, particularly for someone who's never done it before. If you didn't go back and watch the replay, it's definitely gonna help you. How do you highlight laid off to recruiters? Someone who's lost a job in a pandemic. How do you highlight laid off to recruiters? Not sure this is a relative to LinkedIn. You can talk about it in your experience, because everybody has, a bunch of people have lost jobs and business. Because
and I think sometimes the less you say, the better it is. If you were laid off during the middle of pandemic, now tell them what you're doing now.
Yes.
If you're skilling up, if you are whatever it is, if you're freelancing, if you're now working for another, don't go and spend a lot of time on that, because that happens, right? People get released from work for many, many, many different reasons. And the pandemic is nothing personal. So don't put your person into it. Don't make it part of your brand. Move on. Show them what value you have today.
Yes.
And believe that may segue into something. Premium accounts. If you haven't done this as a member, take advantage of the 30-day premium.
Yeah, it's free.
Try out. Two things that you should do. You've got basic access to LinkedIn Learning, right? And so you can put together a 30-day plan to skill up whatever skills you're missing, or whatever skills will support getting to the next opportunity. Take as many trainings as you can on that LinkedIn Learning during that time frame, because it's free, right? Yes. Normally you pay hundreds of dollars for courses. It's free for that 30 days. Skill it up, earn the badge, put it on your LinkedIn profile.
Yes.
If it's a skill that is more technical, take the test. Those things will make you stand out to recruiters and show you're doing something. So that's one thing on LinkedIn Premium.
Yes.
I was going to say the other piece of LinkedIn Premium is you get 90-day picture on who looked at your profile, and go back and look at those and say, hey, I noticed you visited my profile. We have these things in common. Would you like to open up a conversation? Right?
Yeah.
Go back to them, send them that invite, send them that direct message, and begin the process. During those 30 days, you can make a huge jump forward. And then you can decide, is it worth keeping? And if it is, and you're a job seeker, the job seeker premium is really focused on getting you the best deal. So that's going to be the least expensive monthly to get everything you need as a job seeker.
Yes.
But that learning component, and then the connectivity of who looked at my profile, they're wonderful, wonderful options.
Yes, exactly. So take advantage of the 30-day free trial. Brilliant. Have a plan. If you don't have a plan, I remember I tried it out, and what a waste. If you don't take those LinkedIn Learning courses, they're absolutely
waited until 28 days to have a plan, right?
Yeah, and it's too late. Like, okay, this, particularly if you're not working, do you have the time? Make the time for those courses. And secondly, see who visited your shop and did not get in touch with you. And this is a great way to do so. So fabulous. I love that this is very structured. Hopefully people won't forget it. And then I saw a question from Manmeet. We have 5 minutes. And I would like to finish at the top of the hour, simply because Kevin's been, it's early morning for him, and I want to take advantage. If you continue to have questions, then definitely follow Kevin. I'm going to try and answer as many as possible. Kevin, Manmeet has a business page and he'd like to attract more followers to it. What's your best tip to do that?
Maneet, if you have a business page, start using that business page to engage, right? Bring your post through it, repost. Many of the business pages now have articles as well that just came out this week.
Yes.
There's no article tab yet, which kind of makes it part of the feed, but I think that's an improvement they're working on. But the other piece of that too, Maneet, if you look onto the right-hand side, it will give you suggestions of people to invite to follow your page. The more followers you have, the more people think there's value on your page, the more likely they are. So find the low-hanging fruit, the people who love Maneet, and invite them to follow, right? Even follow their page, their company page, if you can. That's a great way to kind of begin the momentum, right?
Yes.
You can even, and I've seen a lot of people do this successfully, highlight other people and other businesses of people that you know on your business page. And what it does, it kind of creates momentum and they start sending people to you. Yeah. So there's a lot of real clever ways to use business page, but use it kind of like you use it to build your profile, hopefully. Yeah. And, you can use it to support each other in the process.
Yes, exactly. And I've seen, Kevin, you practice what you preach, right? So you log in as both, and you're like, I'm one and I'm one and the other. I'm the same. So hopefully, Manmeet, that will help you, and definitely watch the replay. Hey, Risto, exactly. Use a month to study. Make it as a study plan. And Jeff has a brilliant tip. When you cancel just at the end, they will give you the next 2 months for the price of one, at half price. So that sounds,
they don't want you to go. They don't want you to go.
That sounds like a really, really great deal. So Jagan, we don't have time to talk about other personal branding, right? But I also want to quickly address a comment by Sarah, which is something that we talked about, Kevin, you and I, where practice what you preach, right? So there was something about, people who say comment on every post. If you post something, reply to people's comments, something like that. And she didn't. These are the people who say so, but they don't do it. So this is a great way to sort of stand out, because you're building a community and you're not just saying it, but there's like follow through. Because that's one of the things I do, Kevin, is I unfollow someone who I feel like is not interested in engaging or any interaction whatsoever. Then you just want a bunch of fans and followers, which is not enough, right? At the end of the day. All right. So any other sort of burning questions? We have like a minute to go, but I'm going to do a quick recap now. So we talked about many, many different things today about LinkedIn, features. We gave, Kevin gave us the dirty, rundown of creator mode and cover story, the good, the bad, the ugly. Then take advantage of stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home dad, homemaker, but remember the good, the bad, the ugly in there. Similarly, service page, create one if you don't have one, if you're in transition today. Looks cool. You will go higher up the rankings, particularly when you compare it to stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home dad, because a lot of those things the skills are not recognized. There's a bunch of detailed articles. If you go to Kevin's profile page, you'll find those articles. Definitely click them. You'll see all the details there. Follow Kevin. And yeah, I want to say thanks, Kevin, for being with us today.
Absolutely. And everybody direct message Sonal for session 3. I'll come back. I'd love to. So,
oh boy, we had session 1 in October, session 2 in May. I feel like honestly, there's so much, to keep up with. It's really, really difficult. So before we go, just a quick sort of roundup about what you can expect. 2 different things, both exciting. I already mentioned Niyatu, who's our guest next week, and he's a LinkedIn top voice, and we're going to be talking about how culture impacts the way you talk about your accomplishments, right?
And he's one that walks the talk.
He walks the talk.
Yes,
he really, really walks the talk. He has a detailed article in it, and I'm going to quiz him on that LinkedIn article on this topic. And in 3 hours, if you guys are in Asia and if you're still awake, then do come to LinkedIn News, the page of LinkedIn News. I will be live with the LinkedIn News editor for jobs and careers. His name is Andrew Seaman, and we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, salary negotiation, so that you can up your game. Definitely come. I have prepared a special free downloadable for this occasion. And with that said, thank you so much to everybody for being with us today. I know that it's an hour of your time and really, really appreciate it. And Kevin, like, what would we do without you?
Well, love being here.
Take care, everybody. See you later.
Take care.